Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. Denise says, so good to see you, babe. You're first in the house. All right, let's get into a Leo message, shall we? Here we go. What is hidden from Leo? Something from the ninth house, possibly. So, broadening one's horizons, either spiritually, academically, or on a long journey. Okay, so let's take a look and see where this takes us. If Leo's, on a journey and they don't see that yet, or there are some I'm picturing almost like a Indiana Jones quest, traveling to different places, finding, whatever the Ark of the Covenant or something. I'm picturing like maybe this will be a surprise as to the things that, oh, we do have a journey, a surprise, and we have spirituality. For Leo, that they may discover that perhaps it's just their entire life has been a very epic, like I'm thinking now, like Homer's Odyssey. I wonder if Leo should be documenting their experiences because I'm thinking that this is a Leo who's going to have some very unusual spiritual moments in their life. Like if their life is quite the epic journey, and we think of like Homer's Odyssey, you know, and all of the trials and tribulations and the sailing away and crashing on the rocks with the sirens and winding up stranded on the island with the cyclops and all these different tales of adventure and daring. I kind of think that Leo's life is going to be one of a pursuit. If maybe Leo won't recognize this until they're in their 80s, their 90s, they're 114 years old, and then they'll realize, oh my God, my life has been a quest, an adventure, because actually I love adventure. That's what the love of my life has been, is the adventure of my life. This is somebody I don't think that this is a Leo who is destined for just one great love of their life. I think this is a Leo who's going to discover, maybe only in retrospect, that they have loved different people for different reasons, that they have visited different, possibly exotic locations. Um, but Leo's entire experience, I feel like, is a very happy Leo. Like they are able to love where they're at right now. They'll be able to love where they're at 5 years from now, 50 years from now. They may have different friends that come and go out of their lives. I don't think this Leo spends a lot of time crying over endings because they're already moving on to the next adventure. And it's more just like chapters of or episodes of like a great, whatever, next Netflix series. To have the Hierophant here, there is definitely a spiritual component, but there's also like this awakened crown chakra. I don't know that I would say that this has anything to do with like Leo is seeking a belief system. I think Leo's whole journey in life is to love their life, and that is them listening to their higher self. I kind of feel like we have a very tapped in, tuned in Leo. So sometimes I could picture this being a Leo who will likely end up doing vastly different careers. Like this could be the person who's like, oh, I taught tennis on a yacht. I did that for 6 months. I also, participated in, whatever, digging, trenches to like help build infrastructure in a small village someplace on the other side of the world. I did that for a year. I was a barista. I worked in medicine. Like this could be the kind of person where it's like they have found ways to love their very different experiences, but they kind of listen to where they're needed in life and they find themselves going there. Where who they're needed to spend time with, they find themselves going there. It is going to make this Leo's life feel like it goes on and on and on because they keep getting to do vastly different things with vastly different groups of people and loving different people. This is a Leo who is going to do a lot in their lifespan. And everything that they do, I'm not saying that we all make all the right choices all the time, but let me put it this way. Sometimes even the hard stuff in our life was supposed to be part of our life's journey, right? And I think this is the attitude that Leo has. Like, I listened to my crown chakra. Sometimes I signed up for stuff that I already knew was going to be hard. It's going to be a shit show, but for some reason, I got to know. I got to see how it goes. I feel like this is a Leo who like gets a certain amount of pleasure over almost anything, even if it's like other people would be shaking in their boots over this. Leo's like, it's the experience though. I gotta know. Gotta know what happens. Talk about long journey. We have got the Wheel of Fortune and we've got the Seven of Swords. So the other thing that might be hidden from Leo is that there is one particular person, and this could be a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, who chose to tap out and not go on a journey with Leo. Now, Leo may assume that person really didn't want to join them, and that person's still coming back around. We see two people, we see the wheel turning, we see, and this could have been the person Leo didn't marry. One of the people Leo maybe didn't marry. I don't know. Leo might be married and divorced multiple times throughout their life, because they love the individual that is right for them at that juncture of their life. I'm not saying that this Leo doesn't have staying power. Nothing here says that this Leo might be like, oh, I just go with the wind. I'm super flaky. I'll jump in and out of marriages. Nothing means anything. No, quite the reverse. It's a very profound life. But this Leo knows that there's not only, look at how many different geographical regions there are in this world. We've got snowy mountaintops and frozen tundras. We've got tropical landscapes and rainforests. Like, the globe is so varied. And then we have so many different skills, and we can pick up multiple languages, and we can do so much in a lifetime. Aren't we supposed to have more variety? If you really look at the entire world and you look at what we're capable of and how adaptable we are, I think this is Leo who like totally embraced that concept and like actually lives it as like their life's philosophy. I'm probably supposed to do and be and explore more than one thing in my life. Love or fall for someone, and they could be just right for me for maybe a season or maybe for my whole life, depending on how much they ebb and flow and grow and explore with me. But we have somebody who tapped out, somebody who said go, which isn't true. I did want to, but this could have been a Virgo. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that. Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. We did. This is Seven of Swords. Sorry, I said that because the coffin and somebody sitting in the coffin, and the Virgo card in this also has a hermit laying in a coffin. My apologies. But it could be a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius who said, I'm not going with you. And that's not even true. They wanted to go. They wanted to throw their lot in with Leo. They're not done. Leo is going to see this person again. This person's going to rejoin them at some other later date. Maybe soon, because we got the 10 of Wands and we got the 4 of Cups. They are feeling like they really missed getting on that bus with Leo or getting on that ship with Leo. They should have been sailing together. They should have gone with Leo. And instead they're sitting on their rump in both of these cards, but it's getting really uncomfortable for them. The idea that, Leo's life has continued to blossom, and the fact that Leo can move on without them. I think that this regret, this feeling of FOMO, right, fear of missing out, is rising in them, kind of like bile when you ate bad oysters. Sorry to be so descriptive, but we've all eaten bad seafood before at some point. And when your tummy goes, reject button, and you're like, it doesn't matter who's around. It doesn't matter if I'm on a date with the nicest person ever. I'm about to blow chunks because we ate some bad seafood. It just happens. I feel like that's about where they're at. Yael Rubin, you angel. Yael, thank you, sweetheart. Yael just gifted a membership to Raj. Raj, just know, sweetheart, that now you have access to the members' videos, the members' playlist. In that members' corner, just know that you definitely want to check like Monday's member video. I always explain how memberships work, but just know we do like closed sessions in members' corner, which will come up next week actually, and we'll be doing card pulls just for members for like almost 3 hours this month. Usually it's 2. This month we're going to do about 3. Also, I do card pulls for members during their birth month. You just have to make sure you let me know in one of our members' videos. The comments are on over there. So anyway, just some stuff not to miss out on, okay? And welcome. Yael, you angel. Thank you, baby. This feels like they are stuck wondering, where is Leo now? Leo's walked away. Leo's where? Leo's having the best life ever, and I'm still sitting here on my rump saying I don't want to join Leo when I actually do. Why didn't I just go? And I wonder where Leo is now. This person thinks a lot about Leo. And that seems to be one of the things that's hidden from Leo. Magician. Okay, so whether it's so crazy because this was supposed to be the message about what's hidden from Leo. And the one thing that we see is like Leo's future has some reoccurring characters that will come back around, right? There will be someone else that this person will pop back up, and that could be hidden from Leo. But now it also looks like what is hidden even from this person whose future still seems entwined with Leo. Maybe they didn't expect to feel this way. Maybe they really thought they could let Leo go. Maybe they really, I don't know if they're fearful or timid, or if they felt like there was a reason they couldn't join Leo, or if they felt like, you know, uh, look, I could see how Leo would be an intimidating force simply because they are so bold. They're so willing to sail. They're so willing to explore this world. And they feel like they're listening to their higher self. They're not too worried about whether things go perfectly or not perfectly because they're like, I'll still sail on. Even if things don't work out great, sometimes I'm supposed to have an experience that isn't great because it'll help me develop. And I keep seeing the thread of my life connects one point to the next to the next. Even the not really fun stuff has a meaning, a purpose. And then somehow that does loop me around to my next adventure. And somehow that will thread me to the next chapter as well. I think Leo has like this real confidence that the people they meet probably help propel them into the next group that they'll meet. Or I would say this in my own life. I can say that because of an experience that I had, and I learned something, or I had a conversation with somebody and they were really interesting, and let's say I remember I like sat on a long plane ride. I was coming back from Greece and I talked for 9 hours to the person next to me who was from a totally different culture. And there was so much that I learned from them in all those hours. And it was just fabulous. And it felt like it was about an hour. And we both had such a fun time. And then many years later, in the workplace, I was working with someone who happened to have been from that same culture. And it was just so nice to have like some extra comfort zone and bonding because it's like, oh, I knew somebody from there, and I was able to kind of like connect and talk with them about a few things. And it was just, it's just easy to make fast friends when it feels like, you got some reference point for some information that you wouldn't have known otherwise. And sometimes it's those moments, I never saw that person again that I sat next to on the plane, but that conversation meant something many years later in a whole different scenario. And I guess I'm saying the thread of our lives sometimes weaves the tapestry that it's supposed to. And I feel like Leo just rolls with that, even to the point where if somebody leaves their life, this Leo's like, okay, well, I guess that's the way that goes. On the other hand, sometimes those people do circle back around. And I have to say, this, we'll still call them this Libra, Gemini, Aquarius person, possibly. They very well may be making a plan on how to actually re-enter Leo's life, and that could be hidden even from them up until this point. Like, this feels like it's starting to bubble up from their deep subconscious. Like, I can't let this go. I gotta still see what's going on. I gotta still gravitate. I gotta still go toward Leo. We've got Empress. We got the Ace of Wands. It almost feels, because I'm hearing Prince, I loved you more than I did when you were mine. um, it feels like this person is falling more for Leo the more they think about Leo, the more they think about the adventures they're missing. It's like maybe they were intimidated by Leo if Leo comes across to them as an empress, as somebody who just, look, empresses look like they've got life figured out, like they can think on their feet. Now, sometimes it's just because the empresses do a lot of work to gain as much life experience as possible, and to be willing to be flexible, think outside the box, not be, one to shirk away from new places, new opportunities. Maybe this was somebody who liked routine. If they're sword energy, they could be somebody who's like, I do this, I do this, I do that every day. And to add in anything to their routine, or to go outside of their box. I mean, this could be the person who drives the same route to work every single day, and then they have one alternate route, but that's it. Whereas Leo might be like, oh, I don't know, I'd like to drive how, the town is laid out. I lots of times take different roads I've never been on, even though I still need to get to work. I just factor in an extra 15 minutes and then I get to explore like a different street, and so I kind of like learn you know the neighborhoods a little bit better. That might never occur to this person who chose not to step into Libra's world. But Libra could be the person who knows a town or a city really, sorry, Libra, excuse me, Leo might be the person who knows the town really, really well because they bothered to get to know the town. I feel like they're realizing, whomever this person is who's still very much hooked on Leo, disappointed that they're not with Leo, they're realizing, like, in retrospect, Leo is like, they've got volumes of knowledge to share. They've got lots of different adventures to share. They're passionate. They seem to be more self satisfied, and they seem to always land on their feet in any scenario. And people seem to like this Leo. Leo can converse with a lot of people. Leo just seems to be someone who's constantly growing. And I think their world is feeling very small right now and very lonely by comparison, with especially without Leo in it. So definitely we have some changing energy flow where, again, what's hidden from Leo is Leo doesn't realize it, but we have a character about to re-enter Leo's life. Now, hopefully they'll be in a more flexible frame of mind where they can join Leo on these adventures, because that's what they're saying is, I actually would rather live in Leo's world than in mine. We have a Seven of Swords sideways. Um, Even though this is what's hidden from Leo, I would have to say, at least during the time Leo interacted with this person, they knew even then that that person was maybe not like they didn't want to be with Leo, but that there was something that held them back, something they weren't being honest about. I wonder if that's why Leo was able to let them go. Like, look, I'm not trying to make you go bungee jumping with me if you really don't want to go. You don't have to make up excuses as to why you can't go. You don't have to make up excuses as to why you're not ready to like soar with me. It's okay. I can tell you like me, but I can also tell you're scared and you don't want to say that bit, and I'm not going to put you on the spot and make you admit it. Three of Swords, it was a disappointment to Leo. And with that Five of Cups in the reverse, as much as it was a disappointment, it was also like one or two tears, and now I got to continue on. But I do think that Leo knew that this was unfortunate, but they also knew that this person, when push came to shove, they just didn't have the chops to join Leo on this big adventure. That also is like a spiritual awareness. Like, I realize not everybody, can join me on a certain journey. Like, I think Leo is a very good study of human nature. And maybe it's because they seem to be someone who explores this world a bit. But they definitely seem like they have the capacity to like understand not everybody has the same, taste for adventure or the same comfort zone with the untried, untested, unusual, adventure type energy. But I don't think it'll be a shock that this person, when they find they would prefer to try adventure, that they show back up in Leo's life. I don't think that's totally going to be a shock for our Leo. And we've got the Knight of Pentacles. It just might not be something that Leo is expecting necessarily to happen in this lifetime. Again, Leo doesn't wait on anybody or expect someone to show. They just live their life. But if somebody does show up and want to hitch their, wagon to Leo's star, then I kind of think Leo's going to be like, oh, cool. You want to join me? Okay. Well, the saga continues then, doesn't it? Actually, I really enjoyed this character. I enjoyed this adventure. Yael Rubin, thank you again, sweetheart. You're so incredibly generous. And please do not forget, Yael, if you ever want to type a card, I'll do a storytelling for you. I owe you many, my love. Thank you so much for all your generosity to everyone, including me. Sage and Stardust, Lightning Cass, sweet, hi, honey. And again, welcome, Raj. Yael, I love that you're quoting the song. Denisa, thank you so much. AJ, Violet made it. Hi, honey. All right, you guys, take care. I'll see you again in the next one. Zero Girl, thanks for being here, babe. Bye, guys.